Hi, it's Stephanie Rockey, the host of Real World Talk. And here we are today. This week, we are answering, as we do every single week, questions on wealth, relationships, and spirituality. And why are we doing this? Because there's so much chaos in the world today, and people are so frantic and so busy and so involved in so much with this instant gratification society that we live in, that what we're doing is we're trying to live a balanced life so that we all can feel more fulfillment from our life. So these questions are being answered by me, and they are provided by the audience. And you go to hashtag Ask Rockey, which is Rockey. Now, that is my last name. I've had people ask me, is that really your last name? And yes, it is. It has been, and it always will be. So we're going to begin with our first question on wealth, and my fabulous executive assistant will ask me the question.
Jamie D asks, what is the best way to develop a brand?
So, in my 22 years of owning a very successful advertising and marketing agency in the DC area, I've developed what's called the 4 C's. The first thing that you have to do is you have to connect with the audience. How are you going to connect with the audience? The second thing you're going to do is you're going to convey to your audience what is the core message that you're trying to really win them with. What is it that you really want them to know about you, that you really have to be succinct and solid in really expressing that and conveying that core message to them that differentiates you from your competitors? Then the third one is that you have to convince them. You have to convince them why would they want to use your brand. And the last one is you have to capture them. You have to capture them to become a loyal customer. So that sequence is what everyone at my agency, what we do day in and day out. And we do it on every single medium, all media that we are involved with, whether it's social media, whether it's television, whether it's radio, whether it's cable, whatever it is. That's the 4 C's have to be present in every single message. And that is what you do in developing your brand. So now we're going to go to our next question on relationships.
Dalton R asks, when you are having an argument about how to discipline your children, what is the best way to resolve it?
Well, we all go through that. So children are just that. They are little human beings that do not have minds that are fully developed. And I've always liked the method of 1, 2, 3. So giving the child the option as to whether or not they're going to do the right thing or the wrong thing. So, for example, your child is having a fit over the fact that he wants chocolate milk versus regular whole milk. And so instead of taking and giving him everything that he wants all the time and saying, you know what, we just need to have some whole white milk once in a while, make it such where the chocolate milk is really not something that you give them every single day. And so really, I hear this from people all the time. I'm using this milk thing as a very simple means of disciplining, because we have a real sugar society out there right now, and parents are overloading their kids with sugar, and that seems to be a big debate amongst parents. So I believe that what you need to do with children is you have to, number one, regulate what the sugar intake is going to be. And number two, to argue over what you're going to be feeding a child, or that's not good enough, or I can't believe you only gave him a bologna sandwich, or oh my gosh, why did you give him that? And arguments come up about this all the time. But really, to resolve it, decide together as a couple, okay, we know that everything has sugar in it. It's processed food. We want the best for our child. So what are we going to do? And you really think about that and really discuss it in a plan type of situation. And that goes for absolutely everything. absolutely everything with a child. The adults mold the child. The adults create the child. I'm a single parent, and I had to make all kinds of decisions by myself about my daughter. But I, believe I had two personalities. I had to be the female and the male. And so for me, it was like I had to decide, okay, this is the positive, this is the negative, and where can I come in the middle of this so that my child will have a grounded and a real, just a sense of knowing right from wrong without all the drama. And so the last thing you want to do is you want to be arguing all the time in front of your kids about the disciplinary procedures or the policies. You don't want to be doing that. Really, you just discuss this. It's a matter of a discussion, and it's not an argument, okay? So now we're going to go to our next question on spirituality.
Jim C. asks, how much of our life is fate?
Well, that's a loaded question, Jim C. How much of your life is fate? So, again, I'm going to reference my afterlife experience and what I learned when I had my conversation with God. You do have a destiny set forth in you. Whether or not you cultivate that seed, which is that inner knowing and that inner calling of what it is that you're supposed to do, then that is really what dictates whether or not you live your fate. Now, most people like to say fate is something bad. Oh my God, that fate of that person was horrible. And instead of, wow, what a fate you had, you became famous. Fate is something that you are the master of. You have a destiny seed in you that God has placed in you that you need to recognize, and you recognize it through self-awareness. All of us have little urges inside of us. We think to ourselves, you know what, I need to do this. It's whether or not you act on it. And you know what, this is all private. This isn't something that you go out and you tell the whole world, I had this thought today and, I don't know if I should do it or not. The reality is, if it all comes from you, you are your fate driver. You are the master of your fate. So if you have a seed, which is a calling or which is an urge, you got to take action on it, because a lot of people I found, especially with this other company that I owned, it was a dating company, people stop. They have this desire to do something and it's like over off in the distance, and they never take the action or the steps to possibly get there. You're really showing God respect when you take the steps to go there, because when God sees that you are taking the steps, He's going to really lift you up. I mean, this has been proven to me time and time again. Time and time again. You just have to take the steps. You want people to respect you. You want God to respect you. Well, you have to respect God. And so when you show God respect, how is that? You show Him the respect by doing what you feel is inside of you that He's gifted you with, because every single one of us has a gift, and every single one of us has a plan. And the plan is a good plan. God does not give you a plan to come on this planet and go take a plane and shoot it through, the Twin Towers in D.C. in New York. No. That's not God's plan. Okay, that is your plan. That's not God's plan. God's plans are always those that are rooted in love, are rooted in manifesting something good for yourself and the good of the common and the bigger people, the bigger group, the bigger everything. That's what it's about. It's about growing. It's about manifesting good. So that's how you know the difference whether or not it's God's plan or if it's your own ego. And usually it's the ego that gets you in trouble. When you just really focus on what you feel inside God is calling you to do, well, then all your doors will open up. And so again, how much of your life is fate? Well, it's a matter of what you choose. You do have a fate, and the fate is something good, not something bad. But you're the navigator of your fate. You're the master of your fate. And until you own that, until you really embrace it, you really won't feel the power of it. I do it every day and I love it. And so please understand that about God, because he's there for you, supporting you. So this has been episode number 6 for Real World Talk. #AskRockey, and I look forward to seeing you next week.